Today we're going to learn about density. All right? We are learning about characteristics of matter that we can measure. What are some characteristics of matter that we can measure? We can measure the area. What else? Mia?
Volume, mass, weight, and density.
Area, volume, mass, weight, temperature. Density is what we're going to learn about today. The density of mass is something that you can measure. What exactly is density? Any thoughts before we read? Ella, you want to try? How dense something is. What does that mean, how dense it is? You're right. Go ahead, Charlotte.
How close the molecules are.
Ooh, that's a good thought. How close the molecules are to one another. That's a really good thought. Certain properties of matter. I'm going to read you your textbook. Certain properties of matter, such as an object's height or length, are easy to observe and measure, right? Get out your measuring stick. Other properties are not quite so easy, but can still be calculated. Density is the measure of how compact matter is, or how much mass is contained in a certain volume of space. So write that in your foldable, fill in your definition there. It is how compact matter is. How compact it is, right? So Charlotte, you were right. It's how closely those molecules are packed in. Different materials have different densities, right? What do you think is more dense? If I had a pail of sand, or if I had a pail of cement, liquid cement, which is going to be more dense, like more closely together, bound together? What do you think?
Cement.
The cement. Now, what is more dense? I'm trying to give you. Let's give you. What do you think is more dense? Okay. A huge stack of wood or one piece of wood. So density, think of density. It is how closely the molecules are packed together in a certain material. So you're saying concrete would be more dense than sand, right? What would be more dense? Let's go here for a second. Hold that thought. What do you think is going to be more dense? A piece of wood or a piece of lead?
Piece of wood.
What do you think which is going to have a higher density? Lead. Lead is more dense. But what do you think is more dense? One piece of wood or an entire stack of wood? What do you think? You think who thinks one piece? Who thinks a stack? Okay, here's what we can't do, and here's what is a common misconception. Do not confuse density with weight. Obviously, the stack of wood is going to weigh more. But one piece of wood and a whole stack of wood have, you're right, Belle and Rocky, it's the same. The density is, think of density as if I took a sample of the piece of wood, if I took a cubic unit, just like a cube, from the piece of wood, and I took a cube from the lead, I'd be like, oh, the lead is more dense. Not more heavy, but it's more dense. But if I took a cube from the piece of wood and a cube from the stack of wood, the density is the same. The density of wood is the density of wood. It doesn't matter if there's one piece, 500 pieces, or 5,000 pieces. The wood's density is the same. Does that make sense? Right? It's like saying, am I going to order one of Riley's uniform shirts? It's burgundy. But what if I order 25 burgundy shirts? Which one is burgundy? Both. Burgundy is burgundy. The shirt is burgundy. It doesn't matter if there's one or there's 50. The density does not change. The density of wood is the density of wood. It doesn't matter if there's one piece, 5 pieces, or 5,000. The density of the material wood is the same. You're not measuring weight. You got that? Is that kind of separate? If there's one of me What color are my eyes? Blue. If there's 5 of me, right? I cloned myself so the world could just be a better place, right? Because now there's 5 of me. If there's 5 of me, what color are my eyes?
Blue.
All blue, right? Which is more blue? 1 of me or 5 of me? Which is more blue? Who has the bluer eyes? Same. Same is same is same, right?
Which one's bigger? And there's more eyes. She didn't know.
No, which one is more blue?
Yes, she did.
Yeah, which one is more blue? Okay, so do you get the idea of density? Density does not change based on how much of something there is. So fill that in your foldable. Also, density does not change. Density, you can actually measure it. Like you can multiply or divide, you can divide and measure the density of something. How do you figure out the density of something? Well, let's say I wanted to figure out the density of a piece of lead, right? Obviously, it's not a piece of lead, but if I want to figure out the density of something, density equals D, or density equals